Hello and welcome to the latest installment of the NYSPA Presidential Update. In this week's update, I'd like to talk a little bit about some of the activities that the association has been doing. First and foremost, I wanted to start with a recognition of loss for George Floyd. Since our last update, we have put out a statement in opposition to the brutal killing of George Floyd. We have put together a presentation on racial trauma, and I have given the charge to our newly minted Task Force on Diversity, Equity, and Inclusion to try and explore different ways that NYSPA can be a more inclusive society. In addition, I'd like to draw attention to the fact that DCRE put on a lovely town hall yesterday. They had about 17 people, which is about 30% of the membership. With the interest that has developed, I strongly recommend members to join the division. They are going to be putting together additional programming, whether they be support groups, circles, whether they be reading groups, and so forth. It would be nice to see more of our members join. In addition, our presidential task on grief and loss, headed by Courtney Bancroft, has been meeting quite regularly. And they are working on a toolkit for NYSPA members to help work with different populations in grief and loss. And that process is already going. You should see below a paper written by Dr. Pat Pitta. And Pat wrote one of the pieces for this resource. So that should be available below. I also wanted to draw some attention to the fact that Dr. Bancroft talked about grief and loss through the perspective of racial trauma as well. So there was a statement that should be found below. In addition, we had our disaster relief network had a talk on working with diverse groups, and this upcoming Sunday, I hope you all will attend. We have our president-elect, Dr. Chris Allen, will be presenting on grief and loss in the workplace. So I've read the summary, and it looks to be a very, very fascinating talk. I hope that you will be there. From a point of hours and student advocacy, we met again, the Legislative Committee Chair, Dr. John Northman, our lobbyist, Jerry Groden, and myself met again with the State Education Department, and we lobbied to see if we could continue to push for a reduction in hours. That initiative seems to have fallen flat, unfortunately. I'm not sure that they're going to agree to that one. However, it did appear that the volunteer network through the DRN, they're going to work to make sure that that is included. They just need to check about the duration requirement and whether this would count. Last but not least, on the call, we talked about continuing education credits. We were informed that David Hamilton, who head up social work, is now going to be taking over for Dr. Kathy Doyle. And in this conversation, he said that the CE requirements are going to likely be the same or very similar to social work. So that's good if those of you want to get a head start. We also believe that in September, the open commentary period will happen. So keep your eyes peeled for that. Later this afternoon, we will also have a webinar on reopening your practice. That has been a discussion for several of the members. That was put on by Dr. June Fader and her insurance committee. The presenters are our past president, Dr. Alan Hack, Joe Scropo, and Todd Essick are the three presenters. If you haven't registered, I strongly encourage you to do so as well. So that has been the last 2 weeks. I also wanted to thank the school division, Dr. John Rosen, for putting together a really, really wonderful, wonderful presentation on PSET. So that is it for now. I wish you a wonderful, safe, and healthy weekend. And until next time, take care, everybody.